Hello and welcome back to another episode of my F1 League Racing season. If you've missed any of the previous rounds, check out the card in the top right hand corner of your screen to go catch up on the rest of the series. But this is how things stand in the drivers' standing so far. We're currently in P4, about 40 points off the championship leader at the moment going into this Imola Grand Prix. So a lot of catching up to do here today. Ferrari though, we're looking good. We're about 50 points ahead in the lead in the Constructors' Championship, thanks to Marken and myself doing a very good job this season. And who can forget F. Stain as well, filling in for us in France, winning that race. So things are going well in Constructors, but we need to catch up here in Imola in the Drivers' Championship. Let's have a look at our best lap then in qualifying as we head down this long start-finish straight. It just feels like it's never going to end as it winds right and then left, and then you're braking into a left-hander on the brakes. Take as much curb as you possibly can get away with it, then flow through the right and the left. We're currently very much on par with our best lap times so far. Now throwing it through the left and then the right once again. The car gets away from us ever so slightly through the right hander of that corner, and then again through the hairpin as well. As you can see, 2.5 tenths down currently on our best lap time. We've got nothing left to lose right now, so we send it through the rest of the corners. Gain about 0.5 tenth through that left-hander. Now down into Aqua Mineral, back up the top through this part. It's very easy to lose the back end, but as you can see, we absolutely sent it. Gained about 0.2 tenths of a second through that corner alone, sending it over the curbs as well, gaining, and now we are positive on our lap time. Now heading into the last couple of corners, the Ravazzas, I believe these are called. Heading into the left, take as much curb as you possibly can on the left-hand side, then dropping up into 5th gear. Again, curb on the left, curb on the right, to the line, as short as you possibly can get away with. And we only slightly improve on our lap time, but it was enough to just about get us into the top 10. We do get knocked out after a few other drivers set their lap time. The first time in a while, I think, that we have not managed to get into the top 10 in qualifying. 9 tenths of a second off of Helium, who sets the best lap time in the session so far. So starting the grid in P11, it's good because we get a free choice of tyres. However, it's raining, so all of that is thrown out the window. We're going to be on the wet tyres for the start, so everybody on the extreme wets. It is going to dry out as the race goes on, but looking at the top of your screen, it doesn't look like it's going to be intermediate conditions till near enough the end of the race. So a long way left to go, but we're going to try and see if maybe it stays out long enough on these wets, we can do a zero stopper or something like that, because we know we are good on the tyres. Anyway, lights out, away we go. And for once, it's not the best start for us. Usually we're quite good at starts. We've actually lost out a little bit of ground. Initially, we've been overtaken by one driver as we overtake another. But heading down into turn 1, TJD just goes off the circuit. We kind of get squeezed a little bit through turn 2. We decided to back out of that one. There was no point risking our front wing this early on into the race as DNB is going for a move up the inside of TJD. I'm just watching what's unfolding among these two drivers, and I see a gap on the right-hand side. It nearly resulted in disaster as those two darted over to the right-hand side of the track, but luckily I just about managed to avoid both those drivers and move myself up into the top 10 for the time being. Moving on to lap 2 now of this 32-lap race. Peruna in the Haas is ahead of me. There's a big old pile-up into turns 1 and 2. So we get past two drivers, I believe, an old enemy and a McLaren as well. So moving up into P8 in this race. Zafso ahead now in P6. One of my championship rivals. Actually, the guy that is currently in 3rd position in the championship. So Peruna stuck behind Zafso. I'm stuck behind him. We've got TJD about 2 seconds behind us. And the race leader, pole position man, Helium, has gone for a spin. That promotes me up to P7. I'm very happy indeed, but disaster there for Helium. Just showing that a lot of drivers getting caught out. We actually get caught out a bit there by Peruna braking a little bit too early for our liking into the hairpin. In order to avoid him, we had to go to the right, locked up onto the gravel, and have lost a heap amount of time to put us just ahead of TJD. TJD, though, not as fast as we are in this race currently. He's also got a 3-second time penalty, but the safety car has now been deployed. So everything's going to slow down. It's going to calm down, give us a couple of laps to regain ourselves and form up to the back of the leaders, which is good because we lost out a lot of ground at the start of this race. But now we go on the attack once again. The race is underway. Let's see what we've got in terms of straight line speed compared to the other drivers. It would be a good indication against Peruna whether we are quicker or slower in a straight line compared to them. It looks like we're fairly similar, maybe a bit slower in all fairness. So we're set up more for the corners, but the problem with Imola is it's so difficult to overtake. But we do have a little look now around the outside of Aqua Mineral. It was risky. We were never going to try that move. We gave it a good attempt to maybe put Peruna off, see if he could overshoot Aqua Mineral just a little bit. Peruna, wise to it, doesn't mess up and holds on to P6, but he's all over the back of Zafso at the moment. Zafso not got the pace this early on into this wet race at the moment. Still currently holding P7 in this train. DM guy though, who got disqualified in qualifying, is now making his way back up through the pack. I try my best to maybe try and defend against him. We hold him around the outside a little bit, but he's just so quick. It's annoying how quick he is in this season, but there's nothing I can do about that. He just drives past me like I'm not even there, and now he's going to do exactly the same on Peruna as Handy's out of the race, and the safety car has been deployed for the second time this race. If you remember back to Season 5, last season, safety car came out quite a lot in the race, as it looks like we're still under safety car conditions at the moment as Zafso comes into the pits. Not sure whether that's for intermediate tyres, or maybe another set of wets, or maybe he got damage at some point during the race, but it is a free position for us. We're back up into P7 now, and the race is going to resume. Here on lap 13, starting lap 14 of the Imola Grand Prix. Very slow under this safety car restart. We get really close up to the back of DM guy, but lose a lot of ground on the restart. Tyre attempts just were not there at all. And 256 coming into the pits now. So that gives us a little bit of free air behind us. TJD about a second behind. We're a second off DM guy. But we're just going to watch what happens to the drivers in front. We've actually not too far off our teammate Markin, who's currently in P4, battling with the leaders. DM guy will be looking to try and make his way back up to the front as quickly as possible, so maybe we can gain there. As Smowley has gone wide through turn 3. Free position for myself, moving up into P6. Don't know how long we'll hold this. If Smowley has damage, it's great news for us, but it doesn't look like he does as he goes for a send up the inside into the hairpin. Now we're going to get traction off of the corner, hold it wheel to wheel all the way on the run down into this left hand, and now try and go round the outside, the long way round this corner. Is Smiley going to leave us room? He does not, so we have to extend the corner. Luckily we don't get any warnings or anything like that, but now we go on the inside into Aqua Mineral, where I backed out last time on. Smiley's not doing that. He holds it wheel to wheel, and then again just doesn't really give us a lot of room, just cuts over to the right when we're still side by side, and that unfortunately has not only lost me the position to Smiley, but also to TJD, which is really frustrating in this race because we know we are quicker than TJD, but overtaking here is just so difficult. So we're stuck behind TJD for quite a few laps at this point in the race, and that's just going to allow all of the other guys, all the leaders, to again extend their lead like they did earlier on. Now we're going on the attack though of TJD, but you can see now when we move out of that slipstream, we lose all of our straight line speed because we just don't have the right wing setup to go on the attack down the straights. But we brake later into turn 1, hold it wheel to wheel with TJD, get forced off wide into turn 2, but then get the inside through turn 3, but then lose the back end, and that loses us all momentum and any chance of overtaking TJD in towards turn 4. So again, we've just got to build up the momentum, build up the rhythm, and try and overtake TJD at some point later on in the race. Peruna now coming into the pit, so that gives us another free position, and this could be us moving up into the points. And I mean, you're not watching lag or anything like that. That's just my own PC really struggling at this point. We're getting a lot of screen freezes at this point of the race, and unfortunately just as we overtook TJD for extending at the chicane, my PC has to pull me back, and again it's doing it once more into the left-hander of the Ravatsas. It's just having a horrible time of things at the moment, to the point that people now are going to be pitting just ahead of me, and I'm being held on the start-finish line. This is not the video messing up. This is what I was seeing at the point. You can see the webcam, it's moving fairly fine. But unfortunately, the gameplay is just freezing me on the start-finish straight, giving me a total of 20 seconds time that I have lost to other drivers because of this. And as you can see, I'm getting rather frustrated in the webcam now. The heart rate is going to be getting higher and higher. And as we come back into the game, we're making mistakes, going across the track, and look at that, 20 seconds now behind Tim and behind Peruna, which is really frustrating because we were on for a good race. We were running a really good race at this point, and happening again, really struggling. And now, yeah, P11, unfortunately, in this race and getting overtaken by Smowley, who wasn't too far up the road before he pitted. And unfortunately, it does mean that he is going to be back in front of us. Safso, again, another driver who was actually behind me before the incident started to happen. He's behind me and he's just had a pit stop. We're going to be coming into pits on this lap because it is definitely time for the intermediate tyres. The wet's just really not working at this stage of the race. But now it's going to be a case of trying to play catch up and really pray for a miracle, because we're going to be so far back out of the points once everybody has made their pit stops that we're going to need a safety car to bring us back into points. And as you can see, I'm really not happy, actually quite upset at this point that the PC is just, you know, cost me what was potentially maybe a top 5, especially in this championship. You know, we're already 40 points off at this stage. Having PC issues is not something that we need. But we do get past Rickett as he comes into the pits for intermediate tyres, moves us up into P14, but now 20 seconds off the pace of TJD, Max Dukerin, to make our wounds even more sore. We've got a 3-second time penalty as well for multiple corner cutting incidents, which is a big shame. It's going to make things even more difficult, because if we had a safety car and had no penalties, which, you know, fortunate timing, the safety car has now been deployed at this point in the race. That 23 out of 32, it does give us a lifeline. We are able now to catch up to the back of these drivers, and we've been promoted to P12 after other drivers have DNF, so we've only got 13 drivers left in this race. We're now in P12, but because of the 3-second time penalty, we do have to be aware and have to make overtakes out on track and hope that people do have some post-race penalties coming their way. But the race underway once again from the safety car, and now we have to go on the hunt. We have got less than 10 laps, about 7 laps of this race left to go to gain 2 positions and bring us back into the points for the Imola Grand Prix. Hunting down TJD once again. The straight line speed just isn't there, but we know we are quicker than him. We were so much quicker earlier on in the race that we know we are quicker than him at this stage. So we need to be brave. We need to be daring. We need to go for overtakes that we don't usually go for. And we're going to be setting up one up here very nicely. Going for the switchback on TJD. Up the inside in towards turn 4. Braking a lot later than the AlphaTauri, and we move up into P11 for this race. But the job's not done. There's still positions to go. We're on lap 31 out of 32. We've got 1 lap left to go after this couple of corners. We need to get these moves done, and we are right behind Max Duca now in the Alfa Romeo. Look how close we are going into the Ravazzas. We go for a huge lunge up the inside. Luckily, Max gives us lots of room on the inside, so fair play to him. He didn't need to because we weren't really alongside him, but that opened the door, and that was a good overtake to move ourselves up into P10 for this race. Now on lap 32, the last lap of the race as we head down into turn 4, turn 5. Look how many cars are here right now ready for the taking. We're right behind an old enemy, and we go for a late lunge up the inside into the hairpin, but for some reason Tim just absolutely parked it on the apex. No real reason why he was going so slowly there. It really caught us out and lost us the momentum that we gained from overtaking an old enemy, which was a little bit unfortunate. I was hoping to maybe move myself up into P9 there, but now going in towards Aqua Mineral. The job's not over yet because we did make that overtake, of course, earlier on Max Duca into the Ravazzas. And as we go into the chicane now, is there any opportunity here? Not really. It's very difficult to overtake into the chicane. It's a 1-line corner, so near impossible, but one main overtaking opportunity left to go. But unfortunately, it looks like we just don't have the ERS in the tank to go for a move on an old enemy. Will we be able to sniff anything out at the end of this race? It looks like we're gonna come home in P10. We just about made it back into the points, and after penalties it's going to be P9 in the race. The point streak does continue here in Imola, but it does mean we're way off in the championship now. Still in P4 though, but a lot of ground to make up, but still leading the Constructors' Championship by 17 points. That's going to do though for here in Imola. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you check out the other videos on screen right now, but I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.